I'm going to show you how to do a mitered corner. Now, you can find this at the bottom like of the vent of a skirt, other places as well. But basically, anytime you have two edges that come together and you want this to be a really beautiful finish here, you can do a mitered corner. This doesn't look bad the way I've got this right now, where one side was folded up and then the other side was folded in and it was finished like that. That's not bad, but it's not the best it could be. So what I've done before I turned the camera on is I took both of my edges that I was interested in hemming and I finished them, and I just ran them through a serger to begin with. But you could have folded it over and stitched it a 16th. You could have pinked the edge. You could have done any number of finishes to finish this edge of the fabric. And then what I did was I folded it and pressed it at 1 inch on one side. And then while this was still folded, I pressed this other side in at 1 inch as well. And this is where we start to do the mitered corner. So I'm just going to grab a pin, and this side that folds down on top of the other fold, this one, right where this edge comes along and they meet, I'm going to put a pin in there. And I'm also going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'll end up having a pin in those two spots. Just like that. Then what I'm going to do, this is my right side of the fabric. There's my right side of the fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be folding my fabric right sides together, basically at a 45-degree angle. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this pen and I'm bringing it over and matching it up with this pen. And it's going to fold through the point here. If it's at a 90-degree angle, you'll fold through the point. If it's not a 90-degree angle that this is coming to, you're just going to match the pins up and let that corner fold wherever it wants to, just so you have a nice flat surface. To finish the miter, what I'm going to do is I need, right where these creases come together and all meet, from this point there, where those creases come together, I need to sew a line from here up to the pins, or rather from the pins down to there. It doesn't really matter which one you do, just so long as these edges are perfectly lined up. I'm going to sew a line between where the pin goes off the fabric and where all of those pressing lines come together. Just like that. So I'm going to sew between those. And I do need to backstitch. I shouldn't have to say that. I should only have to tell you when I'm not backstitching. Once I'm done with that, I can come in and just cut things off, this point off at a 1/2 inch. Just like that. And then get a point turner or something else to help you turn. And I'm going to open up my seam allowance here. So here I've got this. I'm going to open up my seam allowance and I'm going to put my other thumb between, and I'm just going to flip it so that it's right sides out. And that is a mitered corner. So I'm just going to make sure that I have something to help me get that point all the way to the very corner. I'm going to make sure that my seam allowances are open on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. But I need to make sure my seam allowance are pressed open. And then once this is done, I can take it over to the iron and press it, and from the outside it looks just like a normal corner. It would have looked the same as the other if I hadn't done a miter. But if this flips open at all, people are going to see just this beautiful corner instead of edges overlapping on top of each other. And that is how you do a mitered corner. So go make sure you press it after you're done with this.